Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and this is your photo news fix. This fix is brought to you by SonyAlphaRumors, the most reputable of all rumor sites around. When you want to know the pure facts and just the facts, head on over to SonyAlphaRumors.com because they give it to you straight.
They've done studies, you know.
60% of the time, they are right every time.
That doesn't make sense.
First up, Nikon has shelved the D6 thanks in part to the Olympics being pushed back a year. And the other part is, it was basically a D5S anyway. But wait, there's actually some good news. Madeline in Nikon PR sent us over this development announcement to share on Fix. And it says, due to the delay of the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games, we've decided to cancel the D6 and announce the development of the first Pro FX mirrorless Nikon camera called the ZZ.
Isn't it Z space Z?
Oh, right, Z space Z.
Salty.
Thanks, Madeline, for the update. Thankfully, Nikon decided to share some specs, and they are much less sucky than the D6. Could this be it? Could this be the camera that brings me back?
Maybe.
I guess it all depends on how much Sony wants to pay me to keep me.
Maybe not.
All right, here we go with the specs. There's an all-new Sony-developed 24.1 megapixel stacked sensor with a native ISO range of 64 to 102,400. You will find dual CF Express cards, thankfully, and you're going to need them because this camera captures 14-bit RAW files at 22 frames per second with the mechanical shutter and can this even be true? Steven, oh, he's in New Jersey. Can this be true? 24 frames per second with the electronic shutter. Oh my God, did they just do it? Nikon did it! There's a built-in Pen 1.5 grip.
I said it should have some lanolin in it.
And the last thing Nikon shared was that they are reformulating the 120-300 f2.8 into a Z lens, and here it is. Wait, did they literally just glue an F to Z adapter to the end of it and call it a day?
No.
Nonetheless, this is a great development announcement from Nikon. Are you excited? Because clearly, I am.
Feel these nipples.
Next up, we all know that Sigma, Panasonic, and Leica joined forces last year to form the
Mount Alliance.
Well, Fuji, not wanting to be left entirely out, has joined forces with Olympus, and I guess they couldn't find a third partner to create the Cropped Resources Artist Partnership, or as I like to call it,
The
Crap Mount Alliance!
This is shit.
In Fuji's press release, they go on to say the Cropped Resources Artist Partnership is designed to bring the highest level of quality to crop sensor lenses for Fuji and Olympus lovers all over the world. We're calling this new mount the Ollie G.
That ain't right.
They also had a message for other crop sensor manufacturers out there. Please join us in the Crap Alliance so we can wipe the smirks off of full-frame sensor photographers' faces. Okay, I made up that last part, but the first part of that quote is 100% true.
Really?
So as it stands right now, Fuji and Olympus are the only members of Crap, but they do hope others will join their alliance soon. According to my sources, it's going to be hard for Crap to find new partners as Nikon, Canon, Sony, Rokinon, Yongnuo, and even Pentax have turned them down in the last few days.
Get that crap out of here!
Now you know when Pentax turns you down, you know you're in trouble. So who does this leave left to join? I'm not sure, but if you have any ideas, please leave them down below. And finally, in the most surprising but hugest news of the week, Sony out of nowhere, and I mean nowhere, announced the A7 IV. Take that, Canon R5. Pew, 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 pew. That's right, even though Canon beat everyone to the punch by announcing the R5 will have 8K video, Sony actually beat them to the punch in the real world. Introducing the all-new Sony A7 IV, which borrows from the design of the A7R4 and A9 II. Sony is touting a newly designed 39.1 megapixel full-frame sensor that will allow you to shoot 8K video up to 60 frames per second and 4K full-frame video at 120 frames per second. second. Now keep in mind, 8K 60 includes a 2x crop, no audio, and no AF. On top of that, they finally replaced the micro HDMI port with a full HDMI port that can now push out 12-bit 444 4K RAW at up to 30 frames per second externally. Damn! Now, if you're sitting there thinking, how the hell does Sony think they will be able to move all that data to SD cards? The answer is the A7 IV will have 2 slots, one UHS 2, and then the first camera to incorporate CF Express Type A cards, which are the smaller brother or sister, depending on how you look at it, to CF Express Type B. That means all 4K 60 and 120 as well as 8K footage must go to the CF Express A card. The good news is that's awesome. The bad news is there's no word on when CF Express Type A cards will actually hit the market. Sony has answered the overheating problem by incorporating micro vents on the sides of the body that only adds a few millimeters of thickness to the entire camera. Damn, I wish I could add a few millimeters of thickness.
That's what she said?
Oh yeah, did I mention there's a flippy out screen this time? The only problem is I bet you still can't even touch the menu.
Can't touch this.
In terms of photo specs, which is what I mostly care about, the camera will shoot up to 14 frames per second in mechanical mode and 18 frames per second with the electronic shutter, which falls 2 frames per second short of the R5. Take that, Sony! I'm the R5, and you're the Sony watch. Pew, 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 take that, pew! Sick burn. The native ISO range is 100 to 102,400, and IAF is said to see a massive improvement in speed and accuracy. The joystick, which normally has a lot of knipples, and I like knipples by the way, has been replaced with a small touch-sensitive square, which Sony says will drastically speed up your focus point moving.
How much will it cost?
Well, thanks for asking, Dan. $24.99 for the body only. Now that's only $500 more than where the A7 III hit the market, but I think that price is reasonable considering what you're getting. But honestly, I thought it should have been a little bit more expensive, but hey, this is Sony. They got a lot of money. Oh, what's that? Is that the dump truck of money backing up to my door again?
How much is enough?
Beep, beep.
How big does this pile have to be?
Now there's a good chance that one of these will end up in my bag. What about you? And there you have it. That's clearly your April Fool's fix for 2020, AKA it's all made up, so don't yell at me if you fell for it. To check out last year's April Fool's fix, go ahead and click on the screen right here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and that's where I'm gonna leave it. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.